everyone, Peppe Merolla here, and welcome back again to Peppe Merolla and Friends. As you guys know, this thing is going on. It's been going on for a very long time, and I had the pleasure to invite a lot of my beautiful friends and great musicians, people that I love, a lot of drummers like David Bobby, Colin, Joseph Farnsworth, John Farnsworth, Mike Rana, Hope Medical. But this time it's a very special time because I have a wonderful, wonderful friend, and he's a great guy, but he's an amazing musician. Hold on, he's an amazing musician, and I'm sure a lot of people know who he is. But I'm going to introduce you guys. One only, my dear friend, a great piano player. We played many times in New York together. And anyway, he's always in my heart and in my mind. His music is wonderful. The great Benito Gonzalez.
Pepe, how you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing, Benito? How you
Great.
doing?
I'm glad to be here with you, man. I always love you playing. First of all, I love the way you are, man. You are a great friend, but amazing musician. Every time we play, it's like a party. It's like a huge celebration. So I'm glad to surround myself with people like you, man. Appreciate it.
It's an honor. I feel the same. The feeling is the same. It's mutual. And no, that's what it is. It's about the love and the music and the love, and that's what it is. And I'm glad to have you here on. Let me say this now
Yeah,
on my
man.
show. So the great Benito Gonzalez, Benito, something very important. Actually, I'm going to say this before we start our conversation. We'll be talking about Benito, about music. If you guys have any questions, please do so about piano, about jazz, about drums, because Benito is a great musician. He's a great musician, and he will be happy to hear from all of you. I'm sure he has an answer for each and every one of you out there. And I see some people start writing right now. Let's see who's writing. But I'll go after this. I'll go. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I see too many people start writing, but we're going to go through them one at a time. Now, Benito, when Benito started it, what is the begin of your beautiful musical journey?
Since I was a kid, it comes from my parents. Both of them, I have musicians from both sides. Both of them were um, in music, not professionally, but in my family from my father's side and from my mother's side, they had a lot of music. So in Venezuela, I am from this town from the coast. It's called Maracaibo, which is we play a lot of folk music. So my uncles had folk music, Venezuelan folk music uh, bands, and I used to come and play with them every day after school when I was a little kid. So I started playing music since I was like 4, I think 3 or 4. Not piano. I used to play hand drums first. Then I
Hold
learned
on.
the guitar.
So hold on. You said the hand drums. So
Yeah.
now that's the answer why you play the piano the way you play it. That's the answer right there.
Yeah, I used to play hand drum first. Then when I got to the church, my brothers brought me to the church. I learned how to play the organ. Before the piano, even before the piano, the piano was the last instrument I learned when I was like 12, I think 11 or 12. That's when I started playing piano. But I play different instruments way before, since I was like 4 years old. So that's the way I started it. It
So,
was my parents didn't want me to be a musician, so it was kind of hard for me to decide to do it professionally. They wanted me to like study a career or something different, you know.
enjoy, enjoy the The problem is, not many people will, I'm sure your parents, just like mine, I was lucky because my parents, they were in the music business, and I started working with my mom and my father,
Right,
as a musician at the age of 5. So they knew that I wanted to be a musician, or but inside, some people, unfortunately, they see music business like a waste of time. When I say I'm going to be a musician, well, get a job
right,
first. you know,
right,
guys,
right.
wrong. This is
That's how they
wrong.
see it. Yeah.
But
They,
I'm sure your parents, your family now, they are very proud of you
oh
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
uh,
They are. Yeah, but before, man, that when I decided it was hard. It's like all my older brother asked me, "What are you doing, man?" It's like he's a dentist. He has 2 clinics and stuff. So these guys are like. So now they cool, but back then I was 19, like 18 or something like that. They was like, no, 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 you should
so.
finish your career as a lawyer.
And who was your teacher? When did you start taking serious piano lessons?
I never took piano lessons. I am a self-taught. Uh,
Whoa!
yeah, I learned from the CDs by ear. Um, when I moved to from Maracaibo to Caracas, to the capital of Venezuela. I used
Yes.
to get together with musicians. We used to like share together. There was a trumpet player in Caracas from Cuba who gave me a lot of information. Uh, and that's how I met. All these. I was introduced to a lot of the McCoy music from him. He had all the McCoy albums, and
Wow.
he showed me like many things, like bebop. He played trumpet, so Dizzy Gillespie was like one of his heroes, and
Oh
so we
yeah.
were we were listening. Yeah, we were listening to all kind of music, and he introduced me to jazz history from Scott Joplin or before. He had movies, so we used to spend time watching the movies, and he showed me like the chronologically the decades in jazz and what happened in the 30s, what happened in the 40s, what happened in the 50s, 60s
Right.
with Coltrane. I mean, he helped me a lot, but it, we didn't really have like it was more like a hangout more than having like lessons, you know, per se. But I learned quite a bit with him. But I was practicing quite a lot back then too. I was doing a lot of like practicing like 10 hours, 12 hours a day. A lot of
Yeah.
Bud Powell in the beginning, Monk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a Mari who has a question. Mari Morrison. Here it is.
That's my man.
That's it.
It's a great
Can you,
drummer though.
Hi, Mari. Good to meet you. So can you read the question there? Can you see it on your phone?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, for writing tunes, man. Oof. You know, it's funny because early on I was listening I was listening to a lot of music, like I was listening to Coltrane a lot. That inspired me to write with that kind of sound. But when I moved to the States, I
When
started
did you
to
move to the States?
I
My
moved to
question.
the States in 1999
Okay.
to Washington D.C. That's when I met Marty, and we played together.
Oh,
Then in DC and Washington DC, I was introduced to many other like different influences. So I like Keith Jarrett, and I was checking out Kenny Kirkland quite a bit also. Margaret Miller. So, but the period when I was in DC with these guys, I got inspired, so inspired to write on a kind of different direction. So yeah, I will say all those influences that we used to go for, like Kenny Kirkland and Keith Jarrett. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, I will say. So you know, all that information, all those colors make like such a great inspiration. If you think about writing a song and think about Keith Jarrett, the harmonies, then phrasing like McCoy, that makes a lot of like a nice contrast in writing. So that's what I was going for, you know.
Yeah.
Then when I moved to New York, I met you, Pepe. I met you in Philly, though.
Yeah. First we met in Philly, and then New York, right?
Yeah,
Philadelphia, and then New York.
we play on UCD release party though.
Yes, in at Orleans.
Our
Orleans.
lips. Yeah. That was man. I never forget that show, bro.
We put
Wow.
it was Steve Turre, right?
Steve Turre, Magranelli, what's his name?
John Magnarelli,
Yeah, John
John
on
Magnarelli,
trumpet. It was
John Parker,
Lee. What's the name?
Lee Smith.
Lee Smith.
Lee Smith is Christian's father.
Right. And and you know, I already had played with Christian before then, and you know, I knew
Yeah.
Christian. When I played with you that night, I really understood where Christian got all these chops, bro. And
Lee Smith.
all the posture, the way he grabbed the bass is the same. It's incredible.
Yeah, he has a great.
And the sound, the swinging beat is so strong, man. I learned a lot, man. I appreciate you, Pepe. We
No,
have,
no, that was a pleasure to have you on the gig. It really made a huge difference. You know,
yeah,
it was beautiful. It was just wonderful, man. And you played your butt off.
nice writing. The writing, I remember those tunes were so swinging, man. You
Yeah.
still play them, huh?
Oh yeah. I still. Right now, no. Right now, I play
Right,
them
right.
on my computer. I got a new CD out. I was about to actually, unfortunately, because I don't know if you remember, I told you my CD Happy Times is been out. It came out like 5 months ago,
Right.
and I supposed to come to New York and play gigs in New York. In fact, you were in my mind. I told you about it,
Yeah.
and also because as you know, Harold, we lost Harold Mayberg.
Yeah, man.
And on this record, Harold is on the record with Richie Cole and Frank
Yeah,
Lacey.
he's one of my piano heroes, man.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. But he made the transition. He's home now. He's an angel. But
Yeah,
he
man.
has a lot of music, and I'm glad I got him on CD. So, and the story, I had some gigs in New York, in Philly, but everything has been postponed, as you know. And you're supposed to be on the gig actually, because
Right.
you were the piano player that I had in mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Remember we was
yeah.
talking about it. Yeah, and unfortunately, this thing happened, man. I hope we get back to it probably next year sometime.
I hope so too. I really hope so too, because this morning I was thinking. I put a post on Facebook and I said, I miss going to the jazz club.
Oh
I
man, tell me about
going
it.
outside, going outside the jazz club after the first set, smoking a cigarette, talk to people. I miss the human being,
Right, right,
sitting next to other people. I miss the human contact. I
right.
miss I miss the vibe between the stage and the audience. I feel like, what's happening? I mean, is this ever going to come back? So let's really keep the faith and
I
hope for the
think I
best.
think it will come back once the vaccine comes out. I think
Yeah,
they were making progress. They were talking about they were gonna start testing the vaccine. There is like they had some people for testing now, So
Yeah.
I hope it works, man, because so we can get out of this jail, man. I feel like I am in prison or something.
So, but I got another question for you. You do have records out because I heard some of your composition, and they
Yeah,
are beautiful. You got more than one records out, and you were touring with such a wonderful musicians as well. And could you tell us what's the name of the records, where they can purchase your record, and you know, just tell us about your music, where they
yeah,
can purchase.
sure. The first record uh, I did while I was in Washington D.C. entitled "Starting Point," uh, and the band was, of course, Christian McBride. It was back then. It was Antonio Sanchez on drums.
Yes.
I had Rene McLean on tenor. Ron Blake also plays tenor and clarinet. I had uh, Pernell Saturnino is a conga player.
Whoa.
No, yeah, and that record you can find that in iTunes and all the
I'm sure also
platforms.
on Amazon. You can find also on Amazon, I
Yeah,
guess.
and the second record I did it in 2008. Is Circles, and I have Jeff Watts is on drums on that one. Christian McBride again.
Yeah.
Uh, I have Myron Walden played ten no alto, so only alto. I have Asa Lawrence playing tenor on that. Um, and yeah, you can find that also in the all them platforms. And the third one I did it. It was a collaboration with Esiet and Jerry Gibbs, and that was the tribute that we did to McCoy Tyner, Passion, Reverence, Transcendence, and it was a great experience because McCoy, he endorsed the album. We talked to him. We spent with him like a few hours talking
Cool.
about the music, and he was talking about Coltrane the whole time. Coltrane and Elvin Jones, bro. I
Yeah.
wish I wish you could have seen that, Pepe. It was mind blowing. He was talking about Elvin like he was a big brother. He used to say that Elvin used to defend him, like if somebody, you know, Elvin used to tell him if somebody trying to like mess with you, let me know. I, I'm here,
Oh
and
yeah.
he was
Elvin
talking
was
about Coltrane,
Elvin was a tough cookie.
yeah. So that album, did very well, and I was, you know, doing a lot of traveling, playing that music, and I just recorded a new one last summer that it was supposed to come out around this time, but it got pushed, of course, like everybody else, to next year, probably January or February. And that album is not out yet, but it's nice. I use trumpet players for the first time. I
Oh,
wanted to make a difference, so I have like Nick Payton on trumpet, and I have Josh Evans. Then
wow.
I have my rhythm sessions, the guys that I use, Tane Watts, and I have Sasha mashing us on drums. I have Esiet and Christian McBride on bass, and myself. And the album will come out probably in January. Um, I hope so because man, it's you
Hey,
know
you know,
I gonna feel like the album is old once it comes out.
you know something. I wish I had Jeff Tin Watts on my record. No, but no. Wait. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. But that can happen. That can happen because if I decide, I'm going to make a CD as a singer, and I'm going to hire Jeff Tinwoods.
You both are rough, bro. You both are killing drummers and musicians. So overall, you write some killing tunes like Jeff does. you know, you both are like very tasty musicians.
Oh,
You
thank
know.
you, man. But again, Jeff Tin Watts, he's one of my favorite. There's so
Yeah.
many, as you know, there are many, many, many favorite drummers, um, and he's one of definitely. I mean, he's the one that really him, Caral, and Peter. All those guys. It's part of my heroes. And in my drumming, when I play, there's a lot of Pepe. That's something that because I don't have time to really think about Jeff Watt or Peter Eskin or anybody else try to copy them. It doesn't come
Right.
natural. I just play whatever it is. But then when I play it back and I hear what I play, I feel like, okay, that's now those guys are coming right. Those guys are right in there. You
Right.
know, I can hear it. But we
Yeah.
got some.
No, I can hear you influences, bro. Sometimes when you play, but I love you have a lot of Art Blakey. You have that kind of school that I like.
That's primo. That's primo right there. Art,
Yeah.
Max Roach,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah. You have a lot of that.
I love those. I love. I mean, that's the history. You know,
Yeah.
never try to imitate because I don't think it's worth it for me. It works for me. That's my honest opinion. Try
Right.
to sound like them because those people are untouchable to me, and it makes no sense try to copy Max Roach or Art Blakey or anyone to
Right.
me, because I will always be a bad copy of those guys. You know,
That's
I know
true. That's true.
I
That's
know
true.
so many drummers,
It's like
drummers,
that, you know.
great drummers that I know, great. And then no, I mean this is I'm sorry, I mean that's the
We
truth.
you can be play Art Blakey better than Art Blakey. It's the
No,
same with the piano players, you know. It's like those guys are untouchable. Herbie and Chick and McCoy, and they are untouchable. I mean, it's like
look, I
what we do is we mix them and see what happens. You know.
I prefer sound bad, but sound like Pepe and not try to sound like Max Roach or anybody else,
Right.
anyone, A to
Right.
Z.
Right.
I want to sound bad, but it's going to be me. So if you love that what I do, it's because you love Pepe. That's
True.
it. And that makes me feel good. We got people here saying, let's see, Gabriele Pascale, ciao Gabriele. Ciao Gabriele, ciao Benito, ciao Peppe, ciao Benito. And
Ah,
then
drummer.
he's also a drummer. And then another drummer right here, Pietro Iudice from Rome, my dear friend.
Hey, I know Pietro. Yeah, we played
Yeah,
together.
yeah. Maybe when you were in Rome.
No, we play with. He did some gigs with Mark Gross in
Okay.
Europe. Yeah, like we went to the eastern side. Like we were like in Moscow, like around there.
Yes, he actually, you know what? He told me because Pietro is from my hometown.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's from Naples,
from Napoli. Yeah,
Napoli. But he
I love
moved.
Napoli, man. I've been there twice. I love it.
I know. Man, we got to talk because
Yeah.
I would drive you crazy, Naples. So, but to make yeah, that's what he says. Pietro says you guys played in Russia.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, right there.
It was
And
fun,
Peter's
man. It
from
was fun.
Naples.
It was fun. It was a few gigs only, like 3, 4 gigs, I think. And we was playing a lot of swing tunes. I like Pietro's approach. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was very very nice and very conscious of the melody and the music. That was fun.
No, Pietro can play and is a great guy from Naples, Italy, but he moved to Rome. I think it was like 30 years ago, maybe more. Pietro, quando ti sei spostato a Roma? 30 anni fa, giusto? O di più? Now we have a question here. Another friend of mine from north of Italy, another drummer. Those drummers,
Yeah,
man.
man. You have all that drumming power, though.
Oh man, you know what? They are drummers, but they're musicians. They love music, you know?
I know, man.
Cosa ha fatto decidere a Benito di seguire più il jazz e non la musica latina? Musica che fa parte della sua cultura e del suo paese. So the question is, what made you decide to play jazz music, you know, and not to stick with your with Latin music, you know, with your origin. To me, when even though you play jazz music, that's my answer for me. That's what I get from you, Benito, from your sound. Yes, you play jazz music, but I also hear a lot of Latin influence besides McCoy and many other, you know,
Yeah,
influences. But I do
yeah,
hear the Latin thing. But you know, I'll let you answer Tommy, and then I will translate.
yeah. Well, the the I understood that all them rhythms like swing and Latin and many of the Latin rhythms, like they are African um, influences. Like Afro-Cuban or Brazilian or even Dominican merengue or Venezuelan. We have black villages in Venezuela. And I don't know. I think I found the passion of for playing jazz music because the freedom that we get from improvisation. We had a lot of the improvisation element was, it was easier for me to express myself with the piano by playing jazz. And then if you put any rhythm, for me it's the same: swing, Latin, and all of that, Brazilian, New Orleans. For me it's the same. So the reason why I play jazz is because it's the improvisation element I love the improvisation. And is and then I came here because I wanted to learn the some techniques, like Herbie, or those kind of guys that improvise with so much intelligence and clarity. So
Intensity, yeah.
so but for me, you know I know, I mean, of course I play Latin music. I'm Latino. And I play some other stuff. Brazilian music I play also. But I don't separate them rhythms. For me, swing is the same as Afro-Cuban, and it's the same as New Orleans. I think they have this link, African link, and so yeah, so it's because of the improvisation why I play jazz, if you can call it like that. Improvisation is amazing. It's like we create right on the spot, right, Pepe? On the spot, we make music right on the spot.
We don't rehearse, we just play.
Right, right. So that's the reason why we come to do this. To Because it's like a drug. It's like you get to do it daily. And then you can't wait to do it again to see what happens. You know,
Yes. There is also a,
In Latin music, we can do it, but it's not quite like that.
there is also a piano player, Gianni Pepe, from Naples, Italy, actually from Castellammare, which is it's a town very close to Naples. He's a wonderful piano player as well. Ciao Gianni, spero stai bene. Se avete
Yeah.
qualsiasi domanda a Benito, non so se conoscete Benito, se conosci Benito, ma è un grande pianista, jazz. Benito, when and how? I'm sure you played with a lot of musicians once you moved to New York City. Even though you started in Washington, right?
Right. Yeah. I live in
So,
Washington for 6 years.
okay, so from Washington you started there, and then Washington, in a way, build you up to get to New York and start playing
Totally.
with.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's how it happens with me from Philly, from Philadelphia,
Oh
built me.
man, Philly's such a school.
Yeah, I feel it's like I'm sure.
Mike Boone, all them
Yeah,
guys. Oof.
beautiful. There's many, many great musicians. The great Sid Simmons,
Sid
piano player.
Simmons. Oh gosh.
Yeah, Sid Simmons. Sid Simmons was a piano player for Philly Joe Jones for 12 years.
He was there when we was playing there. Remember when UCD release? He
Yes,
was sitting at the bar.
yes. And I remember, Sid, first of all, he was a wonderful human being, an amazing piano player, and he helped me, man. He hired me a lot when I really
Oh,
needed it.
amazing.
Sid Simon in Philadelphia was one of the few people and I never forget this, that he hired me, many times at our lips, and he was a great, and he told me a lot of stories. He wrote us a tune that Philly Joe recorded it. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, and and then, no, that's funny because Philly Joe just recorded the song, and you know, and and Philly Joe was like, "What's the name of the tune?" And Sid Simmons says, "You tell me."
And that was the name of the song.
That was the name of the song. You tell me. And Philly Joe asked him again. And Philly Joe asked him again. He was like, "Tell me the name of the tune." And he goes, "Yeah, you
He
tell
said,
me."
"You tell me."
So that's a fun. That's a good one. But Sid Simmons, rest in peace.
Yeah,
Was,
man.
yeah, yes, was definitely one of the best people I ever met in Philadelphia. Yes, the improvisation is the key. Every night you can change improvisation with the same tune.
Exactly. No,
Yeah,
it's like that. That's
yeah.
what we do. I heard
So
Margaret Miller was talking about that. Yeah, it's like he says, it's like we get we get that kind of energy from the crowd too. Then we night after night we want to come back just to have that feeling that we get when we are right improvising, and the people are getting that energy. Is amazing.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So once you got to New York, how did you end up, getting a gig? You also played for many years with Kenny Garrett.
Yeah.
So how did you get that gig with Kenny?
I oof, that's a good story. From Venezuela, we have to go back to Venezuela. When I was in Caracas, I used to play at this club there in Caracas. It's a jazz club, the only one. And I met the the consul of the United States, of the artistic consul, something like that,
Yeah,
in Caracas. He came to the jazz club. Of course, he was also a musician. He used to play vibraphone, and he was. That's how I ended up in Washington, because he was living in Washington because he worked for the U.S. government. So he got sent to Venezuela to do work for the USA embassy in Venezuela. So he was producing an album for an African musician in DC, and they finished the album in Venezuela because the guy with the money got sent to Venezuela. So this guy, percussionist, his name is Asante. I met him in Washington and then when I was there, he told me, "Man, Jackie McLean and Renee have to hear you play," and uh, then also Farrell, because he played with Farrell and he played with Jackie.
yeah,
So, so he was doing a recording, so I met him at the jazz club. One night he came. I spoke no English, so the American guy spoke Spanish, and he said, "This African musician wants to meet you, and he wants to know if you want to play on his record, like a few songs." I said, "Oh, for sure." Oh, I was in heaven because I also got paid in US dollars. So
Of course.
so
That's
so
even better.
so 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 a few like a year after, they moved back because Chavez came into power and everybody got scared. So they moved back to the US, and they was doing some gigs, and they called me. They said, if you want to come and play some gigs with the African guy, he wants to know if you want to play with him. He got some gigs with the album. So when I came to the US for the first time, like to Washington, it was like probably 1998. Um, they I met Rene McLean because Rene was in that band. It was Rene, and then I met some other musicians in Washington. But Rene right away gave me a gig. Like I got to the States, and then like after a week or two, I was playing with Rene McLean, you know, and then no later enough, I got a phone call from Jackie while I was in DC, and he asked me if I wanted to come to Hartford to do an audition to play with him, and and he sent me like two songs with Rene. He said, learn these two songs and come to up to the artist collective to do an audition. And then that's how I ended up playing with Jackie. And through Jackie, I met Kenny Garrett. So I met Kenny Garrett in New York, and that must have has been like 2003. So 3 years later, like in 2006, I got a phone call from Kenny asking me if I wanted to do an audition. He was trying to find a new piano player, he says. And I came up to New York. We did an audition, and the rest is history. We did some traveling. Yeah, he's my mentor. I'm very grateful, and I learned a lot of music with him. With Jackie also, in such a short time that I spent with Jackie, I learned quite a lot. Like, just being around him is Pepe,
Yeah,
being
of
around
course.
him it was like it's overwhelming. So and then I met Farrell through Kenny Garrett in New York also.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. And then you were start traveling with Kenny Garrett.
Yes. Yes, we
For
did.
how long? For how long were you? Are you still with Kenny or on and
No,
off?
no. I was with. We started in. I think it was April 2006, and then up until 2013, we did a lot of stuff. Then I did another record with him, like a year after, but I wasn't quite in the band, so it was on and off, you know. And for me, it's like he's my mentor. I am always, I play with him sometimes when he calls. If I'm here, if he needs me,
Yeah.
he's my mentor. Yeah, But and I think it was time for me to like do something different. I've been doing a lot of trio. Um,
And play your music.
yeah, and but I still, I love him. I love the
Of
way
course.
he plays and the way he writes. Also, he's a great composer, and I learn quite a lot every time we get to talk, and he's still my mentor.
I gotta say this because it's something that I noticed a very long time ago. Uh, but every time I played with you, um, and then I listen back or while I'm playing, and I realize, I realize that you coming from you you have a different style of music in your hands and in your mind. I can tell you listen to all different kind of music, and
Right.
that shows when you're playing. In fact, I don't know if you remember, we when we played at Smoke, I was during the break. I was telling you about my future project after this one. That now I have to promote this one, but my next project is going to be more like jazz, kind of a fusiony kind of type of thing. And
Nice.
Yeah, you remember when I talked to you
Yeah,
about
yeah. I
that?
remember we was talking about it.
And this is going to happen, eventually after, when we can, of course.
Right, right.
Uh, and I saw some of the videos. What I love about you playing, that's what I'm trying to say, is that you're not just like a guy. Because a lot of people they say Benito sounds like McCoy. Some people they say that, but I feel like it's not just McCoy. There's so much into Benito's playing. He also
Yeah,
looks at different type of players differently. I can hear Herbie. I hear, it depends on what the music is about. Benito can have a different dress. Benito can wear a smoking, can wear a nice, beautiful black suit, and can also wear a beautiful jeans and makeup and tennis shoes. You
right.
know, it depends on what's the occasion, what's the
That's
music.
that's that's the key element what you say there, because you know for me, when before I played with Kenny, when I was in DC, I was playing a lot of bebop. Like I was doing a lot of that. I wasn't really. I mean, I always loved McCoy since my friend Julio in Venezuela introduced me to very deeply into his music. But I was also playing a lot of. I spent time working on
Okay.
both Powell and Monk. Then also I spent time with Peter, with like Oscar Peterson.
Yeah.
I remember. So the thing is, because I play, I got when I play with Jackie, I obviously was focusing on a lot of bebop, even though he was a little more modern. He was playing some other stuff, but I was focusing on that kind of sound. But because I traveled with Kenny for the longest in that period, when you get a job, you have to provide what the sound of the music is. And my approach kind of got very, my approach on the piano got very influenced by that kind of sound, because you know McCoy Tyner is Kenny's favorite pianist ever. So he loves Cheek, he loves Herbie, but McCoy is his man. So we spent hours talking about style, and harmony, and the way he moves. So the reason is because what I want to say is because I spent so many years playing that style. That style gets into you very deeply.
Of
Because if,
course.
if I would have played the same amount of years with somebody else who play only bebop, I would have played only bebop. Trust me on that.
Yeah.
It's like that. Is when you get a job, you have to do it every day. You have to get used to it, and you get influenced by it. You know.
Of
Now I
course.
play with Farrell. Now I'm gonna start playing. Other shit. Like free.
Yeah, no, that's the key, and that's the same thing. It happens to a lot of musicians. Even like myself. Some people they say, well, he's got too much of technique because for example, I studied a lot of on the practice, but for the idea for me to have to move my hands
Right.
properly and to be able to say musically what I think. Besides listen to the all different style of music, we don't want to forget to practice our instrument deep, because if you listen to a phrase, and we hear a lot of records, we listen to a lot of records, a lot of drummers, a lot of
Yeah, man.
players, and now if you don't have the technical availabilities, yeah, you can hear the phrase played by somebody else, but if you don't have the technique, which that's that's the only way for you to express yourself deeply, what you
Of
think, the
course.
phrase. If you don't have the technique, you can't pull it out. you
Right.
know
Right. Right.
you
Right.
can't get it out of your mind. What you think, what you hear, you got to be able to execute with your hands. And I believe the same thing is for any instrument, and a different style of music. And it's very important to know your instrument. And what you said, that makes perfect sense because I played with you many times. I heard you play many times. And the thing is, I hear more than one thing in Benito, not just McCoy. I hear a lots of things going on, a lot of great influences, great other musicians. I hear Benito. See,
Right,
that's the
right,
important
right.
part. I hear Benito as well, primo first.
I appreciate it.
No, no, this is the truth. And,
You Pepe, I know you are interviewing me, but I'm gonna ask you a question though.
yeah.
Man, how you became such a great like a stylist and a educator, man. You know all that stuff very well.
On the drums because I was very lucky to study this snare drum to
Right.
study snare drum with the classical symphonic players, which he traveled all over the world with Daniel Oren,
Oh yeah.
Riccardo Muti, Daniel Oren, all the symphonic theaters in the world, Metropolitan in New York, San Carlo in Naples, La Scala in Milan. He was
Wow.
number one called as a snare drum, symphonic snare drum, and his name was Walter Scotti. He
Oh,
was a great teacher. He taught me well. He made me fall in love with technique. Then, what I did, again, the truth is, first of all, we need to have a great teacher that's going to show you how to execute accurately, accurate,
right.
how to develop your technique by doing it, but in relax, how to make it look like easy. Some things that I
Oof.
do, people say that's easy, but then they try to do it, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's tough. The reason for that because there is a strong foundation about technique of your instrument. Then once you got that going, that done, and you handle control, you have that under control. You start listening to music, and you can expand and your musicianship
Right.
adding to the technique by listening to all different style of music. I love anything that is good. Can be pop,
Yeah,
funk,
we are the same, bro. Yeah.
rock, anything. And believe it or not, every style of music, as you know, it's hard to play.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know so many great drummers with great technique, but then you hire them to play in a studio at a very slow tempo on the pop recording, which is like boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And they can play on time. And I can, oh man, yeah.
That's true, bro.
So to me, it's like how I became what I became. First of all, because I love, like you did. I practice my butt off, you
Yeah,
know,
man.
every day. As everyone can see, I'm always boom, 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 always, never stop. Two, I listen to everything. Three, I get inspired from everyone, from piano players, from trumpet players,
Yeah.
any musicians ever.
I saw
I
you
am.
play over a track of Waco. They killing though.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I again. That's
They
again.
are my friends. You know that band is from my hometown, Pepe, from
Guaco.
Maracaibo. Yeah.
I love. Who introduced me to that band?
Who?
I I told you about it. He passed away now, but he was a great percussionist, and he also shared a stage with Tito Puente. Rudy Regalado. I'm sure you know him.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah,
remember Rudy Regalado?
yeah. He plays. Yeah, I met him.
So
He,
he's from your hometown. He's from Venezuela,
yeah.
and I met him in
He
Las
play. He
Vegas.
play. He play bass, isn't it?
Percussion.
Percussion.
He used to share a stage with Tito Puente.
Yeah, I met Rudy in Caracas. Yeah, a few times.
and he moved to Los Angeles long time ago, and he was
Right,
start working with Alex Acuna and a lot of
right,
other, you
right.
know. Then after that, in the year 2000, that's how I met him. I met him in Las Vegas.
Wow,
Yeah, what a small world. I met him in
wow.
Las Vegas, yes, and actually, who introduced me to him was the great Bobby Morris, which was the drummer, the original drummer for Louis Prima.
Wow.
Luis Prima, Louis Prima, trumpet player, singer,
Yeah.
Louis Prima, right?
Small world, man.
Yes. So he was, and he also, and Bobby Morris was also the music director and the producer of Barbara Streisand, Elvis Presley. He was the boogie contractor as well for all the casinos in Las Vegas.
Right.
And he, since he's a drummer, so I met him in Vegas, and he introduced me to Rudy Regalado. And Rudy Regalado was the one who said, "Man, you got to check out this band, Guaco." I love the arrangements of those guys, man. Those guys are killing.
Yeah, yeah. No, they are still doing it.
They're still doing it. But
Yeah.
Benito Gonzalez, let's go back to you. So, what are you working on right now?
I man, believe it or not, this time is being okay for me in order to focus on things that I wanted to do, like on the piano, but I wasn't doing it because I was playing too much. Last year was hard for me. I was traveling quite a lot. So now that we have time, that's the only thing we have. We have only all the time in the world to practice. So I've been
I feel the
practicing
same.
some stuff. Yeah, yeah. I've been doing different things. I was going through some of the repertoire, the classical stuff like Chopin. You know,
Which is
uh,
great.
yeah, and I've been doing some also, tracks for people who ask me. So that's why I have my keyboards out. So that's what I've been doing, and trying to stay healthy. Pepe, that's the key. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
trying to stay healthy, going to the park, and trying to run a little bit, eat a little healthier.
See, what I love about you is the fact that I see the keyboards, and I saw some of the videos that you're using those little keyboards, and you combine the sound on the piano and
Yeah,
the keyboards. I love that, man. That's the way it's supposed to be.
yeah,
I
yeah. We
really
gotta
love.
do something together, man. I'm gonna prepare something for us to do fun stuff, though.
Yes. Also, another question: what would you suggest advice for the young upcoming piano player? What it takes to be in this business? What are the responsibility to be in this business for serious students or upcoming musicians who are out there right now, piano players who are listening to you? What would you recommend? What would be your advice?
I think my first of all, to take music very serious first. You know, like it is a career, of course. Like if you decided to be a musician, great. Second of all, you have to get a mentor, like somebody in jazz, for example. You have to have a mentor. You have to have somebody who inspire you, who can give you like a lot of insight, because just going to a school like Manhattan School of Music or New School, or any school, is going to school is good, but it's not the same as having a mentor or having someone, you know telling you how it's done, like, and play on the stage with real musicians, as much as they can, like, because the stage is definitely the best school out there. When we play live and we get exposed, and or if something happen and you have to improvise on the stage in front of the audience, that's Juilliard right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Manhattan, that's Berkeley. When something happen in a song, that like when the band gets a little bit funny, like, and we are making, like, what we bring it back, that's the best uh, way to learn. So for me, it's like the advice is that to look for the masters, go for the masters that have information and experience, and you know, hang out with them, be around them. If you want to play with one of the masters, you probably can, you know, like I did, or like you did, Pepe. You know, you play with Harold Mayburn, with many others. You know, you have to go and hang out with them. You have to like give them you set demo CD. Uh, you know, ask them questions. Like every time you go, like if you see, uh, if you play piano and you see that Chick Corea is in town, or you know, or
Good
anyone,
for him. Yeah,
yeah, go and check them out and try to talk to them, ask them questions. They gonna answer because they are very humble. They because they were like us before, you know. Chick Corea or Herbie Hancock or those guys like McCoy, they used to be like us, you know, like they was looking information, you know. So my advice is to have a mentor, or look, hang out with the guys that have experience like that, you know, because
that was the great advice.
yeah, because they
That was it.
Berkeley is good, Manhattan is good, but that's probably a 40% of the way.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
I
for
agree.
me
I'm
to
100%.
hang out with the masters is probably over a 60%, maybe more.
Oh
Hanging
yeah,
out with the masters, and the way it's done, like the way the jazz business is done, not just the business but on the stage. That's how we learn on the stage, you know, with the masters, like checking out the way they develop the set, the way they count the songs, the way they develop the tunes, how it's done after the solos, how we prepare for the next solo is something that you probably won't learn in Berkeley, you know.
definitely. I agree 100%. You know, actually, I'm going to add a story to this before I let you go. But
Yes.
I remember. You remember Harold Mayburn, right?
Yeah.
What kind of person he was. You know,
Amazing.
and he always tells stories and talks about stuff that you don't find in any of the jazz theory or jazz books, stories. He tells you stuff that the inside stories, which I love listen to, those stories, right? Because
Right.
it teaches me, really a lot, especially the inside stories. But I had a gig with Harold, and actually it was Friendly Fire was Vincent Herring, um, Eric Alexander, Nat Reeves.
Wow.
Nat Reeves
Yeah, that was
on
his
bass.
favorite bass player.
Oh, I love Nat. He's
Yeah.
like Nat Reeves on bass and Alan Mayburn on piano. Now we
What
left
a
New
band.
York. No, we left New York early in the morning to go to Boston because our gig was at Scholars in Boston.
Right.
To make long story short, now Vincent was sitting right next to me in the car. Then in the back there was Eric Alexander and Aaron Mayburn. Eric was about to follow me. Vincent, Vincent is always like, and then he talks, and then Aaron Mayburn, he talked for 4.5 hours in the car, not stop, telling stories, inside stories.
Oh man, that's what I am talking about.
I was driving, I had an SUV at the time. I was driving, but Benito, to me, it was a great gig. I had a great time and it was everything beautiful. But the best part of all of that was listening to Harold Mayburn
Yes, sir.
talk.
Yeah,
was listening to Aaron Mayburn
that's a
talking.
big part of the learning experience, and also the stage,
Oh,
but also the way what they say, the stories. They
yes.
make you feel part of of that. That's why it's important, because when I hear like Farrell talking about, you know, Coltrane, or
Hey,
McCoy talking about Elvin, they make you feel part of that. They make you feel part of that, and that's something you are not gonna get in Berkeley.
no, no, no. Once you graduate from Berkeley or Boston, in Berkeley or Manhattan School or any school,
Right.
once you get out of there, now you're ready to start learning.
That's true.
You know.
Right.
So anyway, I would like to thank you, but before I do that, let's say hello and thanks. Like, I would like to thank all the people who follow us right now, followed this beautiful interview. Thank you
Yeah,
so
man.
much, Benito.
My bro.
You're not
Yeah,
only are a great musician, but a great friend, but a beautiful human being. And I personally, as a friend, as a brother to you, I will wish you the same thing I wish for myself: healthy, family, and success.
thank you, Pepe. Same here, and let's be in touch. We will,
Yes,
we will do more things.
and God bless you. Thank you for being my guest, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Benito
Pepe.
Gonzalez.
Thank you, and thanks everybody who joined, and thanks for the questions. Very nice, and for you Italian audience, amazing. I love Italy. Great musicians. Uh, you
Yeah.
know, my one some of my favorite musicians from Europe are from Italy, of course.
Oh,
And yeah,
that's
man.
so nice of you.
Yeah,
But
no, it's true.
also, Timothy Flynn, Timothy, all the best. Thank you for watching. Angelo Calabrese, thank you for watching. Stefano Giorgi, ciao Stefano. All of you guys. Maria Di Lauro, hello Maria, un abbraccio. Also, Tommy Bradascio.
Yeah.
Tommy Bradascio, drummer. Ciao Tommaso, un abbraccio forte. Pietro, Iudice, all of you guys. Thank you, Gianni Pepe. Thanks for watching. And all those people out there who watched this beautiful interview, thank you for watching. Share it if you like. This is Peppe Merolla, special guest Benito Gonzalez. Now, let's enjoy, before we go, the beautiful video again of Benito playing with his trio with Marvin the Smith on drums. Who's playing bass on this one?
The bass player is a bass player from Melbourne, because Esiet was got kind of sick last December, so he couldn't make the gig. So we found this guy last minute, and he was killing, bro. He was killing.
Beautiful.
His name is Philip. His name is Philip Rex.
Okay, Philly Red. So Marvin the Smith on drums, Philly Red on bass, and the one and only Benito Gonzalez. Grazie, Benito. Bye bye, guys. Thank you very
Okay.
much. Okay. Bye now.
Thank you, Pepe.
Thank you.